Hello there. We are on a journey to uncover the secrets of living with favor. Favor is an acronym for the 5 key areas of growth that were my focus over the last 40 years in business. I didn't know it at the time. It's something I discovered recently, and I wanted to start sharing it with you. Favor stands for faith, abundance, vitality, overflow, and relationships. And I started this show to honor those 40 years as an entrepreneur with the promise to introduce you to expert guests who offer simple solutions for your business and your life struggles. Sometimes I also share a bit of advice, and that's what we're doing this week on Living with Favor. Hi, I'm your host, Lisa Mosbey, and I'm here to help you realize fulfillment in your business and life, but also to fulfill my purpose, which is to advise, train, and come alongside you with simple solutions for those struggles, those things that come up in life. Having somebody who's done them before makes it easier, somebody to come alongside and help you walk through the challenges. So this month, we're talking all about relationships. I decided to focus in on one topic. I have 3 amazing expert guests who will be sharing more on this subject. But first, I really wanted to lead us off with an idea that has caused me to develop deeper relationships and to appreciate people's greatness. Sometimes we get frustrated because people aren't on the same page as us, or they don't move at the same pace as us, or we have challenges with other people. And Wayne Dyer once said that when we change the way that we look at things, the things that we look at change. And I wanted to have deeper, more fulfilling relationships with the people that I came in contact with. I can't believe how many people say they don't have any close friends, or they don't feel like, if they made a list of people who'd have their back in a fight, there's nobody on it. Or who are the people that you can call and you can depend on, no matter what time of the day it is. I was in that boat. I had some challenges after my divorce, losing that network of people that you'd had grown over those 20, 30, years of your life. And so I decided somewhere here along the way in the last 7 years that I really wanted to make better, stronger, deeper connections with people. And that's the secret that I'm going to share today. That's the secret I'm going to share today. Again, my name is Lisa Mosbey. I'm the host of Living with Favor. And that secret starts with acknowledgement and edification. Now, don't disconnect. I know that those are big words. And I want you to let me explain how these 2 words changed my life, like changed my relationships with people, and how I'm better able to make deeper connections and actually draw people in instead of pushing people away. Acknowledgement and edification is simply the act of building others up by encouraging and praising and recognizing their strengths, talents, and potential. This positive reinforcement promotes mutual respect and strengthens bonds between us. So often, I don't know about you, but so often we notice people's faults. And when we notice people's faults, we make judgments sometimes. And so by, acknowledging that we're all human and we all have faults, mine are probably the greatest among us. We all have faults. But what if instead of looking for people's faults, we decided to look for the greatness in people? What are their talents? What are their gifts? And how do we focus on that? How do we stay in alignment with them on their talents and gifts? And don't worry about the other stuff. That other stuff will take care of itself. I don't remember which baseball player it was, but I know I've used this analogy before in some of these podcasts that, in sports, especially baseball, the coaches don't have the players practice, specifically the pitcher, that the coaches don't necessarily have the pitcher practice what he's not good at. They have him practice what he's good at over and over and over and over and continuing to improve that. And if somebody else can throw a better curveball, then they focus that individual on the curveball and practice and practice and practice and becoming a master at that. And so that concept lives within me to practice and focus on what I'm good at. I don't have to be a jack of all trades anymore. I get to be a master at some things, and I can master the art of acknowledging and edifying and lifting up people in my life so that I can create those bigger, better, greater, deeper relationships. So let me give you a little bit more on this. How do we edify or acknowledge other people, and why should we do it? So how do we think it's, pretty easy, just notice what they're doing or what they're saying, but there may be a little bit more to it. So that's what I want to dig deeper into with this idea of edification and acknowledgement. When I looked up the definition for edification online, it was a bit different than what I had learned through as a biblical principle. The gentleman that taught me about edification was a very strong Christian, and he taught me how we speak and use our words to lift up other people. But edification, when I looked it up online, refers to the process of educating, enlightening, and improving oneself or others, particularly in the moral and intellectual sense. This term is often used to describe actions, experiences, or teachings that contribute positively to one's personal growth and development. Okay, it feels like I'm digging a deeper hole. Let's make this simple, because that's what we're about here, right? Is keeping it simple solutions. So I'm going to give you 6 simple highlights of what this definition means. Number 1, personal growth. When we take the definition of edification online from the dictionaries, there's these 6 items that stand out in that. So number 1 is personal growth, engaging in activities, learning experiences, or studying materials that improve one's knowledge and understanding or ethical behavior. So how do we get smarter, basically? How do we improve our knowledge and get in tune with our ethical behavior? Number 2 is moral development, reflecting on moral values and principles and philosophies to enhance our character and our decision making. These are ways that we actually can lift ourselves up, that we edify ourselves, is really get clear on who we are and what it is that we stand for. How do we want to show up in the world? Number 3 is spiritual growth, searching for deeper meaning, purpose, and connection to a higher power through practices such as meditation, prayer, and profound conversations. Yep, I'm doing that. I'm getting into that. So how would you apply that? How would you, educate yourself, get in tune with your ethics, your morals, and find a deeper connection, whatever that is? If it's God or prayer or meditation, how do you establish those deeper connections? And I think that the reason that edification means these things is because when we can look in the mirror and believe in ourselves, have faith in ourselves, and trust who we are, it's a whole lot easier to see that in other people. Oftentimes when we see the negative in other people, it's a reflection back of the negative that we see in ourselves. We can talk about that in another episode or another time, but how do we become enlightened beings and recognize that enlightenment and greatness in other people? We first have to do a little bit of work on ourselves. That's my takeaway of those first 3. Number 4 is intellectual stimulation, actively seeking out new ideas, concepts, and topics to broaden one's perspective and challenge existing beliefs or assumptions. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of that? Challenge existing beliefs or assumptions. I think that what the essence of this is can you talk about a diversity of topics with people. For me, wanting to create deeper relationships, I don't want to have political conversations because I don't. I mean, there might be some people that I'll have political conversations with. Those people are experts, but I don't want it to be getting into a gripe session about politics or, like matching head to head about whose beliefs are stronger. I want to get into the essence of people. Like, who are they? What do they stand for? How do they want to serve the world? And how can I better help them to achieve those outcomes in their life? That's the kind of deeper relationships that I want to make with people. When you've made it this far, so obviously you're curious about this idea of edification, acknowledgement, and building deeper relationships. Why do you want to do that? What's the outcome that you're looking for with these relationships or deeper relationships that you're getting with people? And what can you contribute? What do you bring to the table to expand on these deeper relationships rather than just talking about the weather or politics or our kids? Who are you? What's in your heart? What's in your soul? What's in your mind? And how do we expand that? Are you well read? Are you even reading books? Are you consuming information? Are you formulating opinions on topics that you can get into discussion with other people? For me, it's always business, herbs and supplements. Oh, yeah, and weight management. Those are kind of my areas of expertise. I love talking about them. I have many, 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 many books on those subjects that I've read, so I can engage deeply. I'm not great at politics. I'm not strong in art or literature or culture. Well, maybe culture, but art or literature are really not strong areas for me. I'm fascinated to have conversations with people who are well-versed or well-studied in that. But what do I contribute? And if I want to be in relationship with that person, perhaps I should pick up a book of poetry or expand what it is that I know and can actually broaden my conversation with others about. Number 5 is art, literature, and culture, engaging with creative expressions such as music, writing, visual arts, historical narratives that inspire introspection and intellectual curiosity. That's how we expand. Like, how do we expand what it is that we can talk about? How do we expand the circles that we can walk in so that we're intellectual and can carry on these conversations with people? And number 6 is mentorship and guidance. Receiving wisdom and advice from mentors, teachers, role models who help to shape our personal and professional journey. I definitely do that one. I'm expanding my repertoire. I love to read. I do a couple of books. Mostly I love to listen to books. I won't pretend. I do read a lot of books, but I really try to listen to at least 2 books a month. Libby is my favorite app. I've probably mentioned that to you before because I can check out books from the library. Now, some of the current books, might take a month or 2 on the wait list to get them. But eventually I have so many books in my Libby list that there's always 1 or 2 available every single month for me to tune into. So I'm expanding my knowledge and what my topics of conversation by consuming books. What is it for you? Maybe it's movies, maybe it's sports, maybe it's other areas. Or if you're already an expert or well-versed in those, what's something else that you can add to the table? So that's really how we edify ourselves, how we lift ourselves up, how we educate ourselves, advance our ability to bring people in and have conversations with them. That's not exactly how I learned edification. I learned edification by noticing the greatness in others. I had great mentors who taught me to do this. They explained to me that when you're in the presence of somebody who has accomplished more, who has been to places that you haven't been, shut your pie hole. You got 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen to what they have to say, appreciate and acknowledge them for what it is they're teaching you and how they're sharing and imparting their wisdom in you. We don't need to prove to them what we know. Let them bless us with their intelligence and their experience and their gift of guiding and directing our life. And then how do we do that for other people? If we're the authority in the conversation, if we're the most experienced or wise or educated, whatever term you want to use, how are you using me? How am I using my speech to lift up other people and recognize them? So what could that look like? What could that look like? Let's see. I have a dear friend. Her name is Leanne, and Leanne has introduced me to people outside of my circle. She is an amazing networker, and she always involves or includes me in with her network. And she introduces me to people that I wouldn't otherwise have met. Leanne's gift is communication and connection and bringing people together. That's what edification looks like. It's like, how do you lift people up? How do you talk about them and tell people about the people in your life that are amazing? And then doing that in front of other people. We can administer grace to another by conveying kindness and blessings and divine influence to those who hear our words. So when we speak kindness over people, in front of other people, that's really how I learned to do edification and edifying people in front of other people. I do it every day as often as I can. I try to recognize the greatness in them and tell them, because we all have a bad day, and sometimes we just need somebody to maybe lift us up, to speak words of reverence into us, to lift us up, for us to help us to look within and see the contribution that we make to their life, the contribution that we make to the world, how we help people feel better about themselves. And then they go out and they share that and they spread that joy. It's a pebble in a pond. It's a ripple that continues to give and give and give. And we can be the pebble. We can drop those words of kindness and appreciation into other people's lives and allow that ripple to go out. We don't know where it'll end. We don't know who it will influence. We don't know if it might just turn somebody's day around, or maybe even save somebody's life because somebody recognized the goodness in them, told them about it, and it helped them, feel good about themselves in that moment and make a better decision. So when we use our words for good and compassion, we make the world a better place, don't we? So acknowledgement. How is acknowledgement different than edification? And I'm not sure that it is, but I also wanted to dive a little bit deeper in that. So I did look up some things. Powerful acknowledgement goes beyond just saying thank you or good job, right? It can kind of be, what's the word? Somebody says, oh, thank you. It may not bring about true thanks. Like, it's almost flippant that we just say it. It's expected that we say thank you or thanks. We can take that a little bit further. We can go one step deeper by adding something to that, recognizing someone's efforts, their achievements, or the qualities in a thoughtful and genuine manner. And I wrote down 7 steps to easily acknowledge people. Number 1 is be specific. Instead of giving a generic praise, trying to highlight the specific action or quality that you appreciate in someone. So the example that I gave with my friend Leanne, she's an incredible networker. She brings me into and introduces me to people that she thinks I need to meet. That is very specific, not just, hey, thanks for the referral. Right? It's very specific when I acknowledge her ability to network and bring people together and spread joy and kindness in her networks, drawing people to her that she makes connections with over here with all the other people, how she connects people who need to meet each other. That's a specific quality and an action that she has used to serve me. So, I hope that makes sense. Number 2 is be sincere. Authenticity. That's the word I was thinking of, is authenticity. When we just say, oh, thanks, or thanks for the referral, or thank you. Yes, it is appreciation. And when we hear thank you all the time, it it's important to say it. It's good manners, but can we make it just a little bit more impactful by going a little bit deeper? What does sincerity look like, or what does authenticity look like in acknowledgement? It's how we express that appreciation honestly and maybe slow, not flippant, like thank you, or maybe touch somebody's hand and say thank you, or thank you, you don't know how much that meant to me, or thank you, nobody has ever XYZ like that for me before, right? When we can bring in some of that specificity, when we can slow down and express that appreciation from our heart, so that the person really feels that it's coming from our heart. We don't want to sound disingenuous when we flippantly say thank you, or we skip it. We don't even say thank you at all. We just go on with our day and be all about the receiving rather than the recognizing and that of what we just received. Number 3, using their name. Personalizing acknowledgement by using a person's name makes it more resonant and impactful for them. Leanne, thank you so much for making the connection and introducing me to that podcast manager. Leanne, thank you, and so much for introducing me to Win Win Women TV, where I have an opportunity to speak wisdom and share my experience and knowledge with other people. She made that connection for me. Number 4, say how it has affected you. Explain what their action or behavior has done for you. For an example, if a colleague assisted you with a project, like Leanne has assisted me with getting into Win Win Women, your help on this project saved me so much time, and it helped me meet the people that I needed to meet to make this happen, podcast managers and virtual assistants and all of these people that are supporting me in my online business. I can go out and discover things, but the referrals that I received from Leanne and Heather and David and all of these different people that are in my networking groups, they are making my life easier, and I want to appreciate them for the work that they've done on my behalf to help to launch me to where I am right now. So be specific, help them get, be clear on the actions that they have done for you and how you felt or how it affected you when those people did that for you. Recognizing the effort, not just the result. Sometimes an introduction or somebody's action might be a colossal failure. It totally missed the mark. But if their intentions were sincere, if their intentions were authentic, we should still recognize their effort. Because if you want people to continue to help you, if you want people to stay connected to you, if you want to be in partnership with them in your life, have them as friends, we still need to recognize the effort that they put in supporting us on achieving our outcomes, whatever those are. Whether it was a success or not doesn't diminish the action and the time and the involvement that they put in to help us. So avoid trying to acknowledge solely the result. Praise the effort as well as the result, especially if things don't go as planned. We can praise their thoughts, their intentions. We can praise the behaviors. There's a lot of different aspects there. But again, focusing on the effort, not just the result, especially when it fails. Number 6, do it publicly. We want to acknowledge people in front of other people. Doing it, we scold in private, we revere, we lift up in public, because we want other people to know how awesome they are. And when we do that in front of people, it has a greater impact. They get praise not just from you, but recognition from the other person. And that's what really lifts it up. Think back to a time when somebody recognized or praised you in public. How did that make you feel when somebody did that? Getting recognized by our peers is really important. It encourages us. It keeps us going. It's affirming to what it is that we're doing and how we're serving the world. but we want to do the recognition in public and the, you know, the lackluster. we want to do those, and I don't want to use the criticism, but we want to recognize the things that maybe didn't work. If there needs to be a reprimand or something, we want to do that in private. We never do that in public because you can tear people down too quickly. You know, there's a whole nother topic we can talk about, how we discuss those things that don't work well, especially with employees or with our kids, you know, having conversations without criticizing, getting them to acknowledge what it is that they didn't do well or what could have gone better, rather than saying, you did, you did, you did. That serves no one, you know, that tears people down. And we never want to do that in public. We only do that in private, so that we give them an opportunity to fix and to do better and to come out in a different way. If we do it in public, people want to hide. That brings in shame and blame. And we don't need to do that. We have enough shame and blame in our society. So let's try to lift up, let's edify, let's recognize people for the greatness that's within them and the kindness that they give to other people. Number 7 is do it timely. Acknowledgement has to happen as soon as the act happened. If we wait too long, it loses authenticity and it loses some of the relevance. So, you know, be impactful with your words in a timely manner, because it has the most effect on that person right now when we acknowledge them, and it's going to cause them to want to do more in the future because you recognize them and it was in a timely fashion. So let me review those. Be specific, be specific, be sincere, use their name, say how it affected you, recognize the effort, not just the outcome. Do it publicly, and do it in a timely fashion. So we talked a little bit about edification and acknowledgement. I think that they go hand in hand. In fact, I think that I probably used more acknowledgement in how I recognize people than edification, especially when I went and looked up that word. I liked edify, and you know, it says to build up and use your speech to build people up instead of tearing them down. That is a biblical reference. You know, the stuff that I looked up in the dictionaries online went into a whole different direction. I thought I would share that with you and kind of bring it to a culmination of how do we edify and acknowledge and combine both of those pieces together with these 7 steps on lifting the people up in your life and recognizing them. And I don't just mean people who are friends. You can edify the waitress. You can edify the guy who changed your oil. You can edify the garbage man. You know, thank you so much. You know, you're keeping the bugs at bay, and I really appreciate, you know, that you guys are here every single week. It's not easy, you know. Give them some water, buy them a Starbucks card, and give them a Starbucks card to buy them a cup of coffee. You know, how can you show appreciation for people who are serving you? And don't just expect it, you know, because people are there, you know, none of us are expected to have to do these things. We can say no. And when people show up for you consistently, let's recognize them. Let's appreciate them. Let's use our words to lift folks up and acknowledge what they do for us, whether it's friends, service workers, our own kids, our spouses, our significant other, our employees, or our employer. You know, sometimes we get hard on them. And I guarantee you, if you start acknowledging and edifying people in your life, if you start lifting them up for the good and not focusing on the struggles, the challenges, not being critical, release that, bless and release that critical eye, and start looking at things through this acknowledgement and edification eye, the things we look at change. The things we look at change. If we change our behavior and how we're approaching our relationships with others and appreciating them authentically, we will create deeper relationships with folks. That's all I have for you. I hope that landed. I hope you had a takeaway from it. You know, I want you to experience joy and personal fulfillment. My team and I work to reduce business owners' struggles with simple solutions, both personally and professionally. We invite you to join our accountability communities. We have mastermind groups in health and wellness and technology and business development. Just know that you're not alone and you can get support to get unstuck. That's what we specialize in a group adult learning environment to help lift you up and keep you moving. Let's discuss your business today. Feel free to go to my website, lisamosbey.com, and just click book it to schedule a 30-minute call with me. And that's LISAMOSBEY, lisamosbey.com. I hope you had a takeaway today. Thank you so much for letting me share a little bit of advice. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Living with Favor.